Hello students, in continuation of the posterior uveitis, today we are going to study about the uveitis in the systemic diseases. So those are tubercular uveitis, then cytomegalovirus, sarcoidosis and toxoplasma. Okay, let's start with tubercular uveitis. We know the tuberculosis is the common diseases in India, so it affects most of the time the lungs. Then associated with that, it can affect the UV also. Okay, this is chronic granulomatous infection which can be transmitted by animals or by the humans. So it may cause either anterior, posterior or both. Okay. In anterior uveitis, you see it can be most of the time it is a granulomatous uveitis. So obviously there will be a lot of mutton fat capes will be there. Then you may see the iris nodules and the intersegment grade 3, grade 4, the cells and the proteinaceous material flare will be there. Okay, in an active stage especially. Then it may again spreads to the posterior part, causing either the very small tubercles affecting the entire choroid. So that is, we call it as a miliary tubercles. Because it affects the entire with very small millet-like tubercles you can see. Okay, or there can be multiple large the choroidal patches will be there, choroiditis will be there. So it may cause a multifocal, or you may see sometimes a single granuloma as such. Then it may affect the vessels, causing the vasculitis. So whenever there is a uveitis, so we try to diagnose all the investigations in the form of the tuberculin test, Kivim test, what I told you in the previous classes. Okay, so by tuberculin test, if we find it is a positive, then definitely we have to start with the anti-tubercular treatment along with the treatment of uveitis in the form of to break case, we have to start with atropine, then topical steroids, then oral steroids. But it depends upon the stage of the tuberculosis. If patient is having the very severe the systemic tuberculosis, you have to see whether the systemic steroids you have to use it or not. So under the physician fitness and physician advice, you can start your treatment. Okay. So going to the most commonest, again the posterior uveitis is toxoplasmosis. So it is the protozoan infection which caused by the Toxoplasma gondii. It usually because of having uncooked meat, okay, which is infested by this protozoans. So as it affects the central nervous system, so obviously through your the sheaths, the optic nerve, the retina is also get affected. So retina is with a choroid. Okay, most of the time only the retina is not affected. So adjacent to the choroid is also affected. So we call it as retinochoroiditis. Okay. So what happens in the initial stage? You see the single lesion with a lot of inflammation. Because of that, the vitreous become haze. So that's why when you see through the indirect ophthalmoscope, can make out the whitish patch through the hazy vitreous. So it looks like a headlight in the fog appearance. So whenever you are traveling in a fog and suddenly the light comes, you can't see anything, only the light how it is visible, that's how the lesion is seen when you examine an active stage of toxoplasmosis. So it can be a congenital, again it can be acquired. Congenital, obviously if mother is get infected, the fetus gets infection while the delivery through the transplacental. Okay, so the child is born with some lesions which may be active or it can be a healed stage. So you can see some have healed, punched out, pigmented choroidal scars in the macular area. So in acquired, as I told you, it is spread by having uncooked meat. Okay, so the initial stage, again it is looks like a headlight in the fog appearance. Then it is not affects most commonly in healthy individuals. It is common in case of HIV or immunocompromised. Okay, so there can be a recurrent, once it is healed, there can be a recurrence in case of toxoplasmosis. Why? Because these protozoa remain in a dormant stage, in encysted form for many years. So whenever there is a decreased immunity, there can be this rupture of this cyst and release of this protozoa, and again there is a fresh lesion may occur adjacent to that old healed lesion. Okay, so whenever you examine, there can be a whitish yellowish slightly ridged area of infiltration associated with the vitritis will be there. So how it is diagnosed? By the ELISA and indirect fluorescein antibody test. By this we can diagnose the toxoplasma. So what is the treatment? The active lesion, if it is there, yes, we are going to treat with the topical and systemic steroids, and along with that you have to use the anti-toxoplasmic drugs in the form of sparomycin, clindamycin and pyrimethamine. Okay. So when you see, you can see the picture here how the headlight in the fog appearance is. You can make out the posterior structures are not clearly visible because of the heavy vitritis, and even the lesion you can make out very fluffy and whitish, and margins are very irregular. That's how it is called as headlight in the fog appearance. When it is a healed stage, when it is a scar, you can see the very well the structure of the fundus is seen, and the scar appears to be very pigmented, and punched out lesions are there, and you can very well make out it is a macular scar. Okay. Next, coming to the disease cytomegalovirus retinitis. Okay, again, it is seen in the immunocompromised people when the CD count comes down less than 50 cells, or in a 8 stage. So patient are go for this opportunistic infection, better to say. So patient will have a retinitis, and what are the features? So both anterior and posterior segments are involved, but anterior signs are very less compared to the posterior segments. So posterior there are very much of this pathognomic features will be there in the form of there is a necrosis of the retina, so adjacent the vasculitis will be there. There is a lot of the tortuous vessels with the hemorrhage you can make out, and there will be sheathing of the vessels will be there. Okay, so the word given to that the lesions are pizza pie appearance, that lot of yellowish the necrosis with the hemorrhage. So that's how it looks like a pizza pie appearance. So along with that there will be granular retinitis will be there. So in course of time the patient may land up with the retinal detachment or the retinal atrophy. So what is the line of treatment? So first you have to treat the underlying disease like HIV by increasing the CD4 count by heart treatment, and the specific, as it is a viral disease, you have to go for the antiviral treatment in the form of ganciclovir, and even sometimes you can go for the intravitreal injection in the severe cases. Okay. Then coming to the next disease, that is sarcoidosis. Again it is a granulomatous disease, multi-system disease, multi-organ disease, which is more common in case of young adult females. So systemically it affects the lungs, mainly on X-ray you can see the hilar lymphadenopathy, and skin and eyes are also involved. In the eyes you can make out all the parts of uvea may be involved. It may be anterior, intermediate and the posterior. So we call it as a panuveitis when all the three part of uvea is involved. So anteriorly, last time I showed you, that is a Basaka nodules, or sometimes Kopes nodules will be there because the accumulation of these granulomatous cells in the iris. Okay, the KPs will be large, mutton fat KPs will be there, and cells will be there, flare, posterior synechiae. So whatever damage that is expected in the anterior, it all occurs with this sarcoidosis. Again, in the intermediate, you see the small, the infiltration in the form of snowball or the small banking with vitreous cells in the anterior part. In the posteriorly, it mainly affects both the retina and the choroid. So most of the vessels are inflamed. So a lot of infiltration comes out of the vessels, looking like the candle wax dripping. That is, whatever the infiltrations that coming, they all gets deposited throughout the vessels. That looks like the candle wax dripping, and there will be peripheral multifocal retinitis also. This is how the picture of candle wax dripping is seen in case of sarcoidosis. So we have to treat the underlying the sarcoidosis treatment along with the intravitreal oral steroids you can start, and other mode of the treatment, that is the of uveitis you can treat with the patients. So they respond most of the time. It is a long-term course for most of the systemic diseases, because until and unless the systemic disease is treated, the uveitis is not treated completely, even though you use it symptomatically. So you have to treat the underlying cause along with the symptomatic treatment. So today we are completing this systemic diseases. So we are left over with only one class of uvea. So the next class we are going to complete it. So the today's your assignment question is, what are the different systemic diseases that cause the uveitis, and the clinical features and the treatment for that. Thank you very much.
Sure.